Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Welcome, welcome. Come into the room. Hope that you all can hear me okay. Thank you so much for being here. Certainly appreciate it. We ask that you like and share, like and share. Please let us know where you are watching from. Like and share, like and share. Good Sunday. Not Sunday, good Sunday afternoon to you. So my days are running together, but I hope that you guys are having a great day. And just wanted to come in and just take some time and say hello. And I'm trying to like and share as you all are liking and sharing. And I would certainly appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much for, oh, cool, just being a part of what we are doing here. Let me see. I can go ahead and just share this since it's already up. And let us know where you're watching from. And we appreciate you guys being here and just taking the time. We won't take we won't take a lot of your time, but we wanted to just share some things with you. So again, like, share, and subscribe, and give us the hearts and the thumbs up and all that good stuff. All right, we want to get to it. We want to talk today about the Daniel fast. A lot of people that I know are talking about fasting this month, fasting and praying. And so we just wanted to take the time to just talk about that. Hello, welcome, welcome. I hope you guys can hear me okay, and ask that you like and share. Thanks so much for joining us and for popping in. We really appreciate it. Well, Daniel fast, Daniel means God is my judge. I found that out even as I was studying this, as many times as I've heard this story. Never knew that what the name Daniel meant, but it means God is my judge. And so the story starts with the Israelites. They were taken into captivity. And yes, we are talking about the Daniel fast, but I want to give you some background on Daniel and how he got to the point to where he was fasting. And so Daniel and three of his friends, they were among the captives, and they were a part of the royal family of David. And so they were a part of royalty. They knew how things functioned inside, like the king's kingdom, inside the king's house, and even in the inner sanctum. So they had a skill set that wasn't available to most of the people who were in the area that they lived in, or to the lay people, so to speak. So Daniel and his friends, they were good looking, they were intelligent, they were gifted. As I mentioned, they were well rounded, they were schooled, they knew the etiquette in the king's chamber, and so that went a long way for them. And so they were among the chosen to be a part of the royal palace of Babylon. And so they worked under King Nebuchadnezzar. The king wanted the best and the brightest to be around him. And so the king wanted them to come in because he wanted to teach them the Babylonian culture, the language, the literature, and things of that nature. Now, what happened was King Nebuchadnezzar captured or took over the area where Daniel and his friends were. And so all of the people in that habitation had to come under the guise of King Nebuchadnezzar. Well, when a king took over a province or a people or a country, what they would do was they would teach the captured people the literature, the arts, the language, and the culture of the new people. So the king Nebuchadnezzar wanted to teach the ones that he captured, he wanted to teach them about the culture and the language and things of that nature, because that's how you get cultures engraft into what you're doing. That's how you get them to lose focus on who they were and what they used to do, by bringing them into who you are and giving them your music and giving them your language and giving them your culture and even your food and things of that nature. And then generation after generation, the way they used to live begins to fade away. And so that was kind of the way that kings used to just take over territories and begin to allow their culture to take over when they captured new ground or gained new ground. And I have notes because I don't want to just like get all over the place. So I want to make sure we stay focused on this. And I just thought this was pretty interesting. So as a part of the training for Daniel and his three other friends, they had access to the king's kitchen. They could eat basically whatever the king was eating, which meant they could eat well. They could eat rich food. They could eat anything, at the click of a finger. Anything they wanted, anything they needed, they could eat and drink because they were all a part of this quote unquote training program or this apprentice program, so to speak. So we are looking at Daniel, the first chapter and the 8th verse. So in the 8th verse, let me back up. We're looking at Daniel, the first chapter, period. But right now I want to focus on the 8th verse where it says that Daniel purposed in his heart Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not eat the king's food. Now, Daniel and his friends, they had made a covenant with God because Daniel and his friends knew the power of staying with what God had told them to do and keeping their vows. They understood the importance of that and their commitment to God. They did not want to violate the food laws that were found in the Torah. If you know anything about our Jewish brothers and sisters, there are certain restrictions that they have, that things they can eat, things they can't eat. And that is a vow. That is a commitment. That is what they have decided they have committed to do in their relationship with God. And as they are moving in the relationship with God, and the Torah just explains exactly what you can eat, what you can't eat, why you can eat it, why you can't eat it, things of that nature. And so they wanted to honor that because they take their relationship with God seriously. I'm talking about Daniel and his friends. They took their relationship with God seriously, and they didn't want anything to hinder that or to hamper that. So Daniel had a good relationship with the person who was in charge of the apprentice program. And so he went to him and said, I'll call him the recruiting manager or the recruit manager. He said, Mr. Recruit Manager, is it possible that we don't partake into the king's food? Because I can imagine that the king's food was just really rich food and food that was full of even the butter and things that we think about, and even the creams and the sauces and all of that, when a lot of the people who lived in the kingdom probably just maybe ate rice and beans and didn't have the fanciness that the king had. And so Daniel went to the recruit manager and said, hey, listen, we really don't want to eat the king's food. And so the recruit manager says, if you don't eat it and the king finds out, I'm going to be dead. They're going to kill me. And so Daniel said, okay, I got an idea. In verse 12, he says, let me make this suggestion or this offer. Let us eat only vegetables and drink water. Let us only do that. And let us do it for 10 days. For 10 days. And then you examine our appearance and you compare us to the other guys who are eating off the king's table, who are eating all that they want. Anything they can think of, they can have. The cakes and the pies and the unleavened bread or the leavened bread or whatever they had. Whatever the king's menu was, the other guys were eating it. Daniel said, we don't want any parts of that. So let's make a deal. 10 days. We only eat vegetables and water. And then you compare us. You look at us, you look at our countenance, you look at our faces, and you compare us with the guys who are eating everything off the king's table, who are drinking the wine and everything that they want. And then if we look worse than the ones who are eating everything off of the king's table, then you go ahead. You have my permission to make changes. And basically, I guess he didn't say this, but I guess he was saying, I'm reading between the lines, you know what? We'll submit to whatever you're telling us to do. Daniel had a relationship with God, and he had enough of a relationship with God to know that if I honor God, if I do things God's way, that God will work things out for me. God will protect me. And the verse that comes to mind is that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. But seek ye first, basically do things God's way. And everything that you are attaining to, everything that you're trying to reach will be added unto you. Do things God's way. So back to Daniel. So Daniel says, okay, house manager, the house manager agreed for whatever reason. Now this guy agreed to allow Daniel to do this, even though he knew that he could possibly be killed if the king found out what was going on. That says to me that Daniel had a relationship with this guy, that Daniel even when he was in the kingdom, and when he was a part of the apprenticeship program, and when he was going through all of the exercises or whatever they had to do, that the manager over the recruit manager, I'm calling him that, the recruit manager, he's back actually a eunuch who was over the king's recruits, but I'm just trying to bring it into today's language. So the recruit manager, he must have seen something in Daniel where he felt as if he could trust him, where he felt as if, you know what, maybe I can take a chance on him and it won't actually risk my life. There was some kind of connection. There was some thought process. There was something there that I believe that the recruit manager saw in allowing Daniel and his friends just to eat the vegetables and to drink the water. Daniel had favor with him. Even the scripture says that. Daniel had favor with that recruit manager. He allowed Daniel to do something that could have possibly backfired on him, but he allowed him to do it. So I want to pose this question to you, and I wrote this down. Here's my question. Obviously, the recruit manager was watching Daniel and had kind of had a good feel about him and for him. Who's watching you that you don't even know? Who's watching your integrity? That's a question for you. Who's paying attention to what you do and what you don't do? And better yet, who's paying attention to how you do things? Think about that. People are watching you and you don't even know it. People are speaking of you in positive ways and even in negative ways, and you don't even know it. Your name is being mentioned in rooms that you've not even set foot in, and you don't even know it, because there are people who have their eye on you. Who are you creating favor with by the way you act? Who are you creating favor with by the way you respond? Who are you creating favor with by the way you move, by the way you operate, by the way you interact with other people? Who are you creating favor with by the way you interact with authority? Who are you creating favor with by the way you interact with your coworkers, even by the way you interact when you're disappointed in public or either on the job, or even the cleaning staff? Who's watching you when you walk past them with your nose up, or when you engage with them? Whether you have a little time, that's, say hello, look them in the eye. They're people too. Or if you have a little time, chit chat, find out about them, find out if they have children, or if they maybe have gone through a bad or hard time and they're just doing the best they can. Who's watching you? Who's watching you and gathering intel on you that you don't even know? Very interesting question, because somebody's watching. So what bridges have you burnt and you don't even know it? Some of us have burned some bridges and we don't even have any idea of the fact that we have, because of the way that we possibly handled something with maybe a little too much grit, with maybe something that's a little too harsh. I want you to hang around until the end. I'm going to give you some idea or give you some insight on where you can get some information about the Daniel fast. So at the end of the 10 days, the features of Daniel and his friends, it was 4 of them, Daniel and his 3 friends, it looked better than the group who ate from the king's table. At the end of the time, at the end of the 10 days, eating fruits and vegetables. And I looked this up. This is according to the Times of India, or India Times. It says that fruits and vegetables offer more than just weight loss. Studies have shown that fruits and vegetables reduce cholesterol levels, reduces blood pressure, that fruits and vegetables will boost the health of blood vessels. Fruits and vegetables will help your immune system. It will boost your immune system. Moreover, they contain antioxidants that may reduce DNA damage, thus reducing the risk of cancer. Again, that is according to the Times of India and the Indian Times. Watch to the end of this video. That's what I was started out telling you. Watch to the end of this video because we're going to tell you where you can find meal suggestions for the Daniel fast, if that's something that you want to take part in. Or you might be already doing it and you may be running out of things that you can eat and cook. I mean, you know, your creativity has hit its ceiling, but we're going to help you out. But stay to the end of the video. Keep watching and we'll have that information for you. Now, verse 17, Daniel 1, verse 17 says that God gave them knowledge and skill in literature and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Okay, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Daniel and his friends went on a fast. They ate vegetables and drank water. They stayed connected and focused and committed to what God had called them to do. And they also turned down their plates, so to speak. They didn't eat lavishly. They wanted to honor God and wanted to honor their relationship and connection with God. And as a result, verse 17 says, look it up, Daniel, the first chapter, verse 17, it says that God gave them knowledge and skill in all literature and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding of all visions and dreams. What do you think will open up to us if we honor God with things that we consume? Not just food, but what about the music that we listen to? What about the movies or television shows that we watch? What about the conversations that we embrace? What about that? Here's a question for you. What kind of wisdom and insight are we missing out on when we fail to adjust what we consume? All of this came, let's see, the knowledge and the skill in all literature and wisdom and understanding of visions and dreams, all of that came after the fast. So there is something that opens up when we fast. There is something in the heavenlies, in the spirit, in our spirit that opens up when we fast. Our focus isn't on the extracurricular things that we do or have done. Our focus turns to God when we fast. That's when you you cut out as many things as you can, and you focus on the things of God. And as you're focusing on the things of God, he's downloading things to you. He's downloading revelation. He's downloading insight. He's downloading knowledge and skill of all literature and wisdom. He's downloading knowledge, skill, and wisdom to you. He's even opening your understanding. That's what it says. He gave them knowledge and skill and wisdom and understanding. Oh, man. Fasting does more than make you lose weight and it helps your cholesterol and things of that nature and builds up your immune system. It opens your spirit up to knowledge, skill, wisdom, and understanding. Isn't that something? Maybe the insight that we need for a decision that we need to make, maybe that will come to us when we submit ourselves to a fast. Maybe the creative idea that we need in order to create that $1 million invention or that $1 million product, maybe that will come and be open to us. The revelation of it, how to put it together, how to lay it out, maybe that will come at the end of a fast. Again, verse 17 says, after 10 days, God gave them knowledge, skill, and understanding and wisdom. This was after they fasted. Something shifted in them after they committed to God. They maintained that commitment. And I've heard some people say, if God wanted to happen, then he would just make it happen. You know, I shouldn't have to do anything. If God wanted to happen, it should make it happen. Well, let's backtrack here and look at this. Let's go back to verse 12. Daniel, the first chapter, verse 12, where it says, and this isn't verbatim, but clearly it shows that Daniel initiated the conversation and made the suggestion, and God gave him favor because he went to the person who was over the recruits and said, listen, we don't want to eat from the king's table. Would you give us an opportunity just to eat vegetables and drink water? Let's work that out. And then the guy said, but if the king finds out, I'm going to be killed. And Daniel said, well, let us do it 10 days. And if we don't look better than them, then so be it. He initiated. He didn't sit back and say, well, if God wanted us to do it, then he would work something out. I guess we might as well just fall in. No, he initiated that. So let me encourage you. If there's something that God has put on your heart, initiate it. If there's somebody that God has put on your heart to reach out to, initiate that conversation, initiate that relationship, and take the initiative to do it. Don't sit back and wait for God to do it, because one thing that I do believe is that God doesn't do things that we can do. If it's something that you can do and you feel like God is giving you the open door to do it, then go for it, because he's not going to do it for you. You've got arms and legs and a mouth and a way to communicate, even if it's just typing. But whatever it is, if you can do it, God's not going to do it. You're a big girl. You're a big boy. So what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for God to do? In all honesty, you know what? He's waiting on us. Seriously, God is waiting on us to initiate, to make the contact, to make the offer, to make the suggestion. God is waiting on us. And I believe that God will give you favor. Well, Daniel and his friends ended up becoming rulers over the kingdom. Now, over in the Daniel, the 2nd chapter, all the way down to the 49th verse, it says that Daniel sat at the gate of the king. Now, his 3 friends, they were workers in the kingdom, but Daniel sat at the gate of the king. The gatekeeper, the eyes, the ones who's able to see far off, but the one who ministered to the king also. He was in earshot of when the king called him or what the king wanted. He was there. Daniel sat at the gate of the king. All right, so here is your pearl of wisdom. This kind of went on a little longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. That is okay. Hopefully you guys got something from it. Here's your pearl of wisdom. Fasting is basically taking our eyes and our energy and our extra efforts off of the extracurricular things that we do. And it is putting our focus and setting our focus on God. And that's what I encourage you to do this time if you are fasting. The effort, the decision, the decision will most certainly cause things to change. The effort that we put forth to other things, if we focus it on God, that's what I'm trying to say, it will most certainly cause things to change for us in the natural. So here's the thing. If you start eating vegetables, fruit and vegetables, and drinking water, there is a physical change that's going to happen. You're going to drop weight that you heard just there. It helps your blood vessels. It helps your immune system. All of those things are in the natural. Those things will happen. Their change comes when you fast. But there's also something that happens in the spirit when you fast. So don't discount that. Again, God opened their eyes to knowledge, skill, wisdom, and understanding. I pray that God opened your eyes to that as you fast. Be encouraged and know that God is with you, and know that he will open your eyes to knowledge, skill, wisdom, and understanding. Receive that. And listen, we thank you guys so much for joining us today. We will look forward to seeing you next time, but we ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And listen, thanks for hanging with us this afternoon, and we will see you next time. Take care.